What a beautiful day. It promises to be.
Yeah, I might have to take my fleece off.
Yeah, we wearing a jacket for you.
Well, it was chilly when I left.
Boiling.
I come from Coventry, it's chilly in Coventry.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Come to sunny Leamington.
The radio keeps kicking in. Not that we're going to get to see much of the sun, Mr. Marsh, because we are on another consuming installation. Isn't it interesting how in that last consuming installation video for that SBS unit, we said, oh, we don't do many consumer units, we do a handful per year, and it's kind of like our video uploads. You wait for ages and then 3 turn up together. Yeah. And that's the case with the consumer units. We've got at least one more on the cards at present that I can think of. But we weren't going to film this one, we were just going to get one sticking on the wall. However, after our SBS video, along came Click, bringing a new product to market. And you know us, we are absolute whores for new stuff. And we've got no loyalty to any brand of consumer. We've never found one that we've settled on, not since 17th edition Amendment 3. We used to put in a lot of Schneider Easy 9s.
We did.
Before Amendment 3. Nice board, nice insulated board.
Yep.
And then we weren't so keen on Schneider's Amendment 3 metal offerings. They are nice, we have put some in. They're often just too large for a retrofit. However, it's a large board we're putting in today.
It is.
And we want to try Scolmore's wares.
Yeah.
We haven't even opened the bloody box yet, so should we pop it open now?
Yeah, it's heavy one.
Open.
Yeah.
Oh god, I don't know how much of this is going to get on the in-van cam. It's quite a big installation we're putting in here.
Lift this then.
Should have watched Nick Bundy's video on unboxing one of these, but well.
Who?
Exactly. You can't trust what Nick Bundy says.
Sorry, Nick.
Because he says go for Rhino trade insurance, and I tried that last year, and they're much more expensive than bloody NAPIT insurance, so do shop around for your insurance.
Yeah, I always found NAPIT was the best price.
I've been using NAPIT insurance for years with no friggin' Bundy 10 discount. I'm getting cheaper than that. In fact, I think they Rhino were about a ton more expensive with the professional indemnity.
Yeah.
Also with the professional indemnity. Just saying.
Well, it's, apart from being massive, it looks like, let's be fair,
that's going to fit the gap that I said it was, yeah.
In terms of looks, it looks like every other.
They do all look the same, don't they?
I assume you've got a box full of RCBOs somewhere.
Yeah, RCBOs, blanks, etc. I hope all the right stuff's turned up.
Yeah.
Because we only got hold of it yesterday and I just haven't had time to go through and make sure it's all here. So we're going to turn up to the job, stick this on the wall, bish bash bosh. Again, going back to the Nick Bundy thing, he Click stuck him on the front of a professional electrician pretending to install one of these. So that's already a black mark, isn't it? We're going to have to mark them down for that. If you're going to stick someone on the front of a professional electrician pretending to put up Click Scolmore stuff, it needs to be a more handsome chap than Nick Bundy and his chabby anorak.
Well, I saw that and I thought, sorry Nick, I thought, why the anorak? You know, Nick's this tattooed guy, you know.
He's saying he's dench,
and
I believe that's what the kids say.
You know, shouldn't you have had a tee on, showing your muscles and your tats, you know. Instead you had an anorak on, and well,
loser. Okay, let's trim the loft to site and spend a hot day putting in a big box. There's a bit more to this job. The reason it's such a big box is because the guy has just bought the house. I did in the ICR on it a few weeks ago. You weren't there, Nigel, you were skiving off. There's quite a few circuits there already. It's got a insulated board in there. I'm trying to think what it is now. I think it's a Wilex. Perfectly fine, perfectly serviceable board. However, we need room for future expansion. He's a bit renewable energy mad. He's talking about solar panels, air source heating, all sorts of things for which demand is a big problem. And about the Garrow priority controller, we've got one of those on the van. We're not installing it today, but we can show him it and how we can use that to share loads. EV charging, that's another thing. So we can do the same thing as I do in my house and have the load balanced by sharing the shower and the EV circuit, so that they both can't be used simultaneously. He's on about actually decommissioning the electric shower entirely, getting rid of it. So he's well aware of the limitations of his installation. He's already in talks with Western Power about it all, quite independently of me. He's also moving the meter and stuff, so we'll be putting in a meter box today and preparing for that, because once we've got that in, he can book Western Power in to do the physical move. So while I do the consumer unit relocation, because we are moving the consumer unit from its current position in a bathroom, to the opposite side of the wall, that takes it out of the bathroom. It's in a cupboard in the bathroom. It was a garage conversion, someone's put in the ground floor bathroom. It's not the worst we've seen. We saw one last year, well no, it was this year, wasn't it, when where the consumer unit was properly in the bathroom.
Yeah, next to the shower.
The same room as the shower, unprotected. It's just like, okay, that's a bit weird. And again, you wait for ages, and then two come together.
Yep.
Consumer units in bathrooms. Haven't seen it in all these years, and we're in year 9 now of running this business.
Bloody hell.
I know, yeah. 10-year anniversary next year, if we live that long.
I need a nice easy job where I get paid loads of money for doing fuck all. If anyone's got a job like that for me, good luck. Glad to leave this fucker behind. Take it.
For God's sake, it's fucking radio. Does he not know we like to sit in silence? Moody, angry silence. This twat trying to overtake me. No, babe, where did that get you?
Got 15 feet further ahead. That's just random, man.
Good tune to be fair.
No, it's not.
You wouldn't know.
I would know.
Got those guitars.
It's got nothing but bloody drums in it, has it?
That's what you want. A bit of percussion.
Where it's
After
got the odd
700
bass.
meters, go right on the roundabout, second exit.
Oh.
Try once, wait one. Can't stick lasers at a smoke machine to a fucking guitar, can you knobhead?
Occasionally it's got the electric piano going ding 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 ding.
Not 1991 anymore. Actually, keep that up, actually. That's better than the radio. You can try the
Right on the
energy.
roundabout, second exit.
Keep going, keep going. You just listen to Ed Sheeran while wanking.
Take the exit,
Wanking and crying to Ed
take the right
Sheeran. Nigel's already started vandalising this person's house. It's a glamorous job this, isn't it, Nigel? I like your workbench there.
Well, I've been in this position many times, usually with a lid open.
Or with a stinking hangover. We've got some boxing here, of course, that Nigel's pulling apart. We've got these pipes right here, look, and this wooden structure. That's going to be awkward. Awkward because we've got to put a new meter box on the outside of the wall there and core drill through. Jesus, how are we going to do that, Martian?
Oh, marriage.
Where's that bonding cable going through? Stand on your hand on the right there.
It's going beyond this pipe.
Yeah, if you move that bit of insulation.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. It's got a bit of plastic.
No, the one, this shit
Oh,
here.
this one. Ah, this bonding cable. Right.
Yeah, that gives us an idea of where we are outside with it. Because going on to outside will be that white meter box, which will be surface mounting onto there. And then new tails will be coming into our board installation up here.
Put this big chunk of wood in front of the armoured. That's what this is.
I need to take that off to see.
Yeah, that's protected by that.
So we might need to get a core drill in the space between the pipes and the cable. That's going to be fun for you, isn't it, Nige? Try not to kill yourself. The DNA will be coming to replace this. They'll be coming to fit an isolator today. We're just waiting for them to turn up, aren't we, Nige?
Yes.
So they're coming to fit an isolator for us. Horrendous cost, because they won't let Hayes do it anymore. Pricks. And then we'll be taking out this perfectly serviceable dual RC Wilex board and putting in our new solution. So the circuit's feeding into the top of that board. You can see, of course, like I say, we're in a bathroom here. That's a bit unusual. So once I've got that isolator on, we'll have this board off. We'll get all these circuits extended through to the side. So our Elucian board will be sitting here, which is sort of in a kind of study area. But the homeowner tells me they're having a solar PV put in and an inverter will be going on that wall there, so by the time that's on with all its isolators, it will look like quite the electrical corner. Interesting times.
Looks like at least all this was put in while the toilet was here, so we ain't going to cut anything off because we can't access it beyond the toilet anymore.
There's our Scolmore gear. Powers off circuits are labelled up to remind me of what goes where. They're just labelled in number 4 and the laptop tells me what goes where from the EICR performed a few weeks ago. You've got a devil of a job, haven't you, Nige, there?
Yeah.
Nige has got a core drill. I don't know how he gets all the shit jobs. He's got a core drill without hitting the cable coming in, which is partly buried in the plaster, and also without getting in the way of these pipes. Ooh, how's your measuring skills, Nigel?
Well, my measuring skills are quite good.
Yeah.
Just attempting to get something going there.
Don't fancy that much. Right, I'm going to start disassembling this board with the exception of the tails.
Okay.
Is it wrong that I'm filming you on the toilet? Just next to the toilet. What are you finding, Mr. Marsh?
So I'm thinking that we're going to be coming in around here. So we need to find a place. It's not much to search from to core drill. So I'm thinking it's going to have to be about here, which is kind of brown trousers time when you're core drilling close to there, you know. So we basically want to be, and we need some room there. That is where we want to be. I think we need to pilot from this side.
You've got to make sure if you pilot from this side is fine, and we're going to have to go above the cistern, like you said, because there's no way we're going to get a drill down there. You've just got to be careful that, or you just make sure that when you're core drilling, you're following that pilot and not going askew.
Yes, so we need to pilot from this side, then we need to core drill from the other side.
So easy to catch this. What are you thinking though? Are you thinking of bringing it in here or over here more, because we've got more room for manoeuvre? If we bring it in behind the pipes a bit more, we can break this out manually. So I say if you
can't bring it behind the pipes.
Why not?
Really? Do you want to be squeezing tails behind the pipes?
That's what I'm saying. If we've got a hole here,
break it out.
We can break it out there where we can see it, so that the tails are brought away from the.
Put some insulating material.
Yeah, wedge something in there to just keep it away.
It would be nice if I was accurate enough to get it in just the right place.
That would mean having to pilot between the pipes. 10mm pilot. You'd be doing it from this side. What we absolutely can't have is hitting that fucking.
No. It just can't happen.
If we're core drilling from the other side behind the pipes, we know that we've got a gap between the end of the wall and the pipes.
Yes.
This is one of those awkward installations where one has to think on one's feet a little bit, because it's a bit.
I wonder if we should do the pilot, then core this side from inside. I think that's the safest.
You can't core from inside here.
Why? It's only a size.
You're going to get the core through between that gap there. You've got 2 pipes there, and then
One. All we have to do is pop them off this, and we got movement. We
you
can.
haven't got much movement there without risking causing a bloody leak.
I think we got enough movement. I think we could, if this one's loosed, we can get some movement to this side to be held back during because it's only a small core, just to get that first skin done.
You get the core and you see if it fits that gap.
Well, I'll have to undo this other pipe first.
Well, get the core and compare it to that gap as it is before you start worrying about moving pipes, because
I think we can gain a centimetre or 2 by moving that.
it's what, a 35mm core? Something like that.
Well, let's get the core and we'll find out.
I'm going to say you're fucking wrong. And you're saying you're right.
I am right.
And I think when I win this one, I should get a hand job.
Hand job. Give you that hand job.
Let me get your failure on camera.
My failure.
Okay,
Ready?
here we go.
That's lovely, that. Look at that. With pipe movement, that's plenty. That's good.
There is no way you're getting caught from this side with that.
Not all the way through, just through the first skin of brick. It means that you're not coming from the other side and shitting your pants.
It might be crazy enough to work, it might be.
I just wouldn't want to come from the other side. If you can take skin 1,
You're the massive
if you've
prick
already
doing it,
if you've already piloted it and you're following the pilot, this side for this one, the other side.
I suppose if you're doing it from this side, you can at least see it. The only thing is, you've got your
Yeah, I know, but like I said, we'd move this.
you fucking
Pop these, give that a bit of a pull.
Yeah, so we're going to be swimming in piss water.
But we got to pilot it and make sure that we're in a good position outside, height-wise as well. Now I've tested it height-wise, and that seems about right. But
Well, if you want to set up the,
I could be on or off by at least 2 millimetres. I could be off.
if you want to set, if you want to set up the SDS.
Okay, does that look level to you? From that side?
Yeah, it looks alright to me.
How close was I?
I think you're in the zone. Blur the face off the brick, not that it matters, because it's
No.
wanging a big hole in there.
Great big box on it. Well, I'm going to go and see what my aiming was like before I core drill this time.
I kind of hope he's off target, otherwise I'll be smelling his farts all the way home.
I am off target a little bit. Bit high, but it doesn't matter.
Hold the box up, let's see where it comes out.
I'm a little higher there.
Back there. Yeah, well, that'd be alright, because if you've core drilled, if you drop that down, so it's level.
Yeah, I can't see where it's level. Yeah, but approximately there.
Yeah, it's not, if you were, once you've core drilled that, you will have enough of an opening in there that you can bring them through.
Yeah.
So that'll work out okay.
And I'll do the inside from inside and the outside from outside.
Genius. Nigel's armed with his tool. Where's your fucking tool, Nige?
It's here.
Oh, it's right there. Right, now he's got to
Slip it nicely in there.
you've got to watch it doesn't slip harsh because the pilot's bigger.
Right, now we're in. Keep an eye on that bloody bolt there. Have we lost that bolt? Look at that.
Does it come off?
Yeah. It's come undone.
We lost our pilot as well.
The pilot's getting there, isn't it? Well, what can I say? I did tighten it up with a spanner.
A lot of these tool manufacturers, they just don't give any consideration to how the pilot's held in. They give you a crappy grub screw.
They all fall out.
Or
they just poke
a bolt that sticks out too much from the side of the thing and catches on the material you're drilling. It's
good. Once you see that out here. Try not to drop me. I see.
But you wanted to do the rest from the outside anyway, didn't you?
I did. But let's. I'm going to go outside with this and see if I can poke that back in.
Okay.
Yeah?
A pokey stick.
A pokey stick. I'll be back in a moment.
Forthwith. Oh, it's actually sticking out the wall. There you go.
There we go.
You're only a couple of centimetres from breaking through by the looks of it.
Oh.
So if you want to do, mind you can't continue from out there without the pilot, can you?
Well, I can. Just the pilot will spin, but it'll guide me into the hole. You know, like when you use your thumb. Oh, you can't pass that out, can you?
Not without an extension lead.
Well, if I'm only a little bit from the end, shall I use the drill one out here? The drill one, the battery one.
Unless we just carry it on from in here. But you want to make sure.
Break out.
Right. Okay. Fine. Yeah, that should have the nut, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's it. Doesn't quite line up, does it?
Well, I can't say that I'm level with it because it
looks like you fucked up. It's close enough.
Well, I can open up a touch.
No, don't bother. That's plenty to get a pair of tails and an earth through. Cheers, Pablo. Pablo from the DNO there. What a nice guy. Isn't he a nice guy? I think he gets around a bit. I think he's been on some of Chris's videos before. Almost as nice as guy as Dino that James Beck tends to get. But he's fitted an isolator for us. So now we can start trying to get this new board in place. Pablo's put our isolator on, and we made a filthy fucking hole through there to take our cables through. Let's have a little look at this Elucian beast. Sounds like a bloody Greek god, doesn't it? Elucian. What do you reckon, Nige? We've got the we've ordered this SPD with it, of course, because we do SPDs, don't we, Nige?
We do.
Back off buzz bar. We'll have to cut that down because I presume the SPD. Sorry, if you can take that a moment.
Yes, I can. I'll try and do my usual trick.
We're going to have to put that's the bottom terminal of the SPD is your protective earth terminal. Normally you find the SPD sort of over here somewhere, don't you? But we obviously can't move the main switch there and put it here because that's where the clamp fits. What are you filming there? Look in your viewfinder. You're all off to one side, you arse.
Hey? You're on the what?
You're all filming to one side.
I know, because you're there. What do you want me to do?
Dick splash. So that's obviously not going to go there. That's kind of that's the main switch position, isn't it? And we can't put it there.
Well,
because obviously the buzz bar. Don't want to put that on a protective earth terminal, do we, Nigel?
No.
Do we? Hey, nightmare. So I suspect we're going to have to put that at this end. Oh, something just came off there. I don't know what that is. Chop the buzz bar off. We're going to feed that via an MCB. Oh, look at this, Nigel. Look at this, what they give you. Now we're talking. Crenulated grommet strip, and not the nasty stuff either.
There we go.
Oh, what do you think about that, eh?
Lovely. Sexy.
Lesbian sex. We like that. And it's about time. And to be fair to Scolmore, a few months ago they messaged various people saying, we're coming into the conceiving unit market, what would you like to see? And I said, I'd like to see knockouts on all sides. Some people don't like that. They prefer to get the old arm eggs on there and chop their own holes. But and I know what they mean, because sometimes you want a smaller hole there and you can't really drill into a knockout. And I get that. And some people don't like the look of it. Personally, for when we do conceiving units, it's usually a retrofit, and I want an easy time of it. So I said I'd like to see knockouts, and I'd like to see decent crenulated grommet strip. And I don't know if it was already on the menu for them or what, but to be fair, that's what we've got. So that's all right, isn't it, Martian?
Yes, seems so.
Fairly sturdy cage clamp. What? I don't know how many ways this board is. So if we take the SPD is using up the cover. If the SPD is all the way out at that end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 ways to play with. We'll lose one way for the breaker for the SPD. Gives us 17 sexy ways to do it. Did you know there were 17 sexy ways, Nige? Or is it just front door or back door for you? RCBOs, good looking, small form factor. I don't like cable ties on the bloody, because then you've got to get your cutters and start snipping around where the wires are. It's just plastic waste, Nigel. It makes Greta cry. But
how dare you?
How dare you? But they look all right, don't they?
Yeah.
UKCA marked. No earth fly lead, so it's just the neutral. I don't suppose you've got any cutters on you, have you, Nige, for us to...
Okay,
my toolbox is in. Let's just make sure that an RCB all the way over here can get to where it needs to be over there. Yeah, piece of piss. So they're plenty long enough. It also looks like this one comes with a... So at least we've got a couple of blanks supplied with this. I can't remember how many blanks I ordered. We've got a box of blanks somewhere as well. So
Blanks.
yeah, a lot of companies are doing them like this now, where you instead of the crappy plastic covers that you clip on, that's a proper DIN rail fitted item to prevent anyone from just wazzing them off the front. Very nice. No AFDD solution for this board yet, and again, as I mentioned in one of my many AFDD videos, if Amendment 2 next year is bringing in AFDDs, there aren't many places that are tooled up and producing them even at this point, are there? We've still only got the usual suspects, I think, like Electrium brands, Crabtree, Wilex, Hager do one that's a double module that doesn't contain the RCD protection or doesn't contain the overcut protection, can't remember which one it is. Eaton, Schneider, the CEF brands, they're still into like 2 module units, which are very difficult to retrofit, maybe even 3 module units, some of them. So we still seem to be some distance away from this time next year, potentially Amendment 2 saying thou shall fit AFDDs, so manufacturers actually having wares that tick the AFDD box. You kind of... Wilex and Starbreaker, Crabtree Starbreaker, are kind of the only go-tos you can get for an easy retrofit at this time, I believe. So that's interesting. I do suspect that that's going to fall by the wayside, the whole AFDD thing, and they'll just say, nah, we carry on recommending them only. Right, well, let's offer this up. Oh yeah. I should make those noises when I move, I'm sure. That's going to cover the absolute massive smashing the wall that we've done, so we'll have to bring our cables in on this side, won't we, including the tails. Bung me marks running through. There's plenty of room to extend the circuits. In terms of extending the circuits, at the Manor House, for example, where we did a board relocation, we used a DIN rail solution, didn't we, Nigel? Which was one of those enclosures with a DIN rail in. You fit your connectors to it, wire them in. It was shit.
I was saying earlier though that Wago do those, but I think they're a lot more expensive, and you try and find one in any wholesalers.
Yeah, wholesalers are a bit intransigent, aren't they, into what they say. The reason I say it was shit at the Manor House was, what I found was, and I have used these things before, but because we bought installs, changes, relocations fairly infrequently. We haven't had to use one for a while. What I found was you do it up, you think it was tight, you think the wire was in there, you give it a tug test and the fucker would fall out. And for each termination there were often, you know, like 2-3 attempts where you think, right, it's in, it's secure, that's as tight as I can get it. Oh, it's fucking popped out again. Don't trust it, didn't like it, very fiddly, pissed me the right off. So this time we're just going to do it the lazy way, but an effective way, which is to wall up an enclosure into there, take our cables in, spang a load of Wagos on them, or ideal splice lines, or, you know, take your pick, whatever. We're using Wago as a brand name, like we're using Hoover. It's not necessarily Wago we're putting in, but it'd be a decent brand like Ideal. Hellman Titan's another one. I don't think I've got any Hellman Titan on the van. A proper branded push fit connector solution. Obviously that cupboard's staying, so if anyone ever needs to get into them, they can. It's not like we're losing it somewhere awkward to access. And yeah, those cables are going to go in. We're going to extend them using that kind of solution. We're going to take them out through the hole into the board. Bish bash bosh. It's 11:41. Let's get it fucking done, and so we can get out of here. Might have a pint tonight. It's a nice sunny day.
Pipes back in.
Mechanics have started to get it up on the wall. I'm going to have to cut down this buzz bar around here. I notice it's not one that's notched. Some of these have a sort of snap-off point where you can quickly just get the pliers on them and break them open. I'm going to have to saw that. So just to let you know, that's the case there. So we've got plenty of room. We've got some breakers here instead of RCBOs. And there for future expansion, because there's probably going to be a couple of subboards around here that others are going to be putting, like the EV people, the PV people. We're talking about Tesla Powerwall. There's all kinds of shit going on here. That sort of stuff doesn't need to be RC protected. It'll just come out of this board and straight into another directly beneath it. We're done in terms of getting this on the wall, as usual. I'm not very neat with these things. It's 3:30. I find it very stressful, consumer unit changes. It's just a job I really hate, because once you've pulled the plug, that's it. It's balls to the wall to get it back on and running, because you know at the end of the day it's got to be. What do you think, Nige? It's just heavy work, I find, very fiddly.
Yeah, I agree. You got to be flexible to make things go where you want them to go.
I don't like it, and I always feel like I never do a very neat job of it because I'm trying to get it done quickly. I mean, it's competent enough, I suppose. In terms of the board, let's concentrate on the board instead of my workmanship. For God's sake, don't look too hard at my workmanship.
That's all right. That's all right.
In terms of the board itself, we do quite like it, actually. A lot of working space around there, which is good. Lovely big knockouts at the rear. As you can see, we've only required one of them to get all these circuits in, plus our tails and stuff. We've put a bit of containment within the hole we put in as well, just to protect the final circuit wiring from any rough brick edges as it sort of passes through. The RCBOs are single pole plus neutral, so the neutral isn't switched, so that's something to bear in mind. I know on the SBS board we looked at last time it was a switch neutral. These boards aren't, so the neutrals remain connected. Also,
you mentioned the
yeah,
RCB.
couple of niggles which aren't really terribly terrible, is that if you need to get one of these back out again, it's very hard to get to the thing at the back to pull it down, the little clamp at the back. We had to make a little hook out of a bit of copper just to get it behind there and pull it down. Some boards are easier than others for doing that. It's quite a common thing to find. What I was pleased to find though was that I was able to extract the device without taking the whole ruddy buzz bar out, which is another thing I mentioned to Scolmore when they asked me about my bugbears with consumer units. I hate it when you want to, for whatever reason, take out a device and there's just no fighting it out without taking the whole buzz bar out. So that was good. Also, I find obviously with the smaller terminals on these smaller RCBOs, and this again isn't exclusive to Scolmore by any means, it can be quite difficult to torque up. My torque driver, which I think I've put away, I do have the smaller ends for it. You can see I've actually damaged it. That's an Armeg bit as well. And that's I'm just trying to get the torque settings right. I've actually busted the screwdriver a little bit. Whereas if you've got a standard or a larger size screw, you can get a bigger driver and you've got more of a chance of getting your torque settings correct. But overall, a nice board, we do like it. And I know again that we mentioned this on the previous video about the SBS board. There are some people who they just won't try these things like SBS, CP fuse box, etc. because they say, let's get you in the showing. Now people like to see you now, I don't know why.
Let me put my glasses up.
There are some people who, it's Hager or Schneider or nothing basically. They won't take a punt on a make that they don't recognise because they feel that perhaps the quality isn't there, or perhaps it's not got the market longevity. It's a bit of a risk. It might not be around in X years' time. I suppose with this, with the Elucian stuff from Scolmore, at least it's another big brand player to choose from. You might not like the smaller brands, but you do have more choice than just your sort of your Hager, Schneiders. Lots of other big brands out there as well, of course, Contactum, etc.
Yeah.
I find, again, as I've said before, these things sort of live or die on their availability. What can you get from the wholesaler when you need to get it?
Well, that's exactly it, isn't it? You know, it's what will they carry? What will they buy in?
Yeah, a brand like Scolmore's perhaps got more of a chance of getting in on the shelves. But we are ready to power this up, so let's get that done and let's get tidied up, because as usual, we've made a right trashing mess of the place. Label sheet's competent enough, mixture of text and pictorial. Nothing for your SPD, which is interesting. I hate these stickers as well. These, well, both of these actually. This one, fine if anybody uses it, I suppose, but really the information on there should be incorporated into here in BS7671. This thing's useless because you don't know who it was necessarily, who wrote whatever numbers on there, what their competency was, whether it was just some DIY or what. There should be something that links this back to a particular certificate or report number and the person who did it. Not unlike my own, which contains all my information. I'd put these stickers on the inside of the board there because, well, nobody wants to see them on the outside, do they? It's a bit label crazy. I haven't actually used the supplied labels because I prefer to print off my own on my super E550 WVP label printer. Matt J. Barber, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, link in the description. Like, subscribe.
That's what Dior used to say. Our colleague Dior used to get his haircut at Matt J. Barber.
Yes, he did.
Fresh trim, Matt J. Barber.
I've had a fresh trim. Look at that.
Yeah, it wasn't by Matt J. Barber, was it?
No, it wasn't. This was done by the wife.
Anyway, a customised label printout just lets you say where things are really going. For example, we've got lights serving multiple areas here, so rather than trying to just use these stock labels, easier to print your own. Nothing in the stock labels for your SPD. Yeah, but never mind. But that's us labelled mate. 14 weeks later, and Western Power have put in the service head to where we want it to be. Oh, that focus is really out, isn't it? Let me sort that out and we'll go and have a look at the hole they've dug and what they've put in there. That's a hole. It's more than half a hole, it's a whole hole. And that's their joint. Interesting to film these guys doing that live, but I don't think they'd really want me to. Goes into the old hockey stick there. You can see the poo pipe didn't survive. There was a waste pipe, soil pipe for the toilet just below the concrete, which broke out with the concrete. So the boys have gone off to get some replacement poo pipe bend in order to restore that. Just remember not to use the loo in the meantime. And here's our box, level with the gas box. They've left me an isolator there, and obviously we're going to take our tails and earthing through the hole at Niger's. Well, there's half a hole. We've got a whole hole here and half a hole there because it didn't quite line up. That's Nigel's measuring for you. He's supposed to be my mechanical man, so Nigel. Since we were last here, there's this curious whisker box appeared on the wall with an armoured cable going off to it, and that's for a heat pump that's been installed subsequent to our previous visit 14 weeks ago. And they've sort of plonked that onto our Elucian board in a way that's not terribly pretty, but never mind. So my job now is to get the tails from this end through the hole, tails and earthing, and connect it up to the other end to get the power back on. So we're using my little Boddington's VDE hex key, which is just what's needed to get into these holes right here. Marvellous. Of course, Nigel's supposed to be on the other end of this, helping me to pull this in, but he's off with his gammy trouble again. Never mind. What time is it? I've left my lunch at home today as well. Bollocks. You know, I think we stopped recording last time without showing what was in the old cupboard here. Suffice to say, the IP box is where we extended our circuits, and the trunking goes through to the CU on the other side of the wall. I'll disconnect this bit of what was the main earthing, get rid of these old tails, and connect my new shit directly to the isolator and MET. You can see Western Power have disconnected Pablo's isolator and the meter, and the old head are gone. They've actually busted the head off the board and left some bits still hanging onto the screws there. Shame I didn't have some wider trunking on the day to get the tails through in it too. That would have been neater. I think I'm getting sloppier in my old age, you know. The chaps are back, and they're about to get noisy as they cut up more concrete to repair the poo pipe. Meanwhile, my 25mm tails and 16mm main earthing are in and connected, at least inside anyway. There are a couple of cleats within the cupboard. This will all eventually get boxed back in, of course. I've some metal banding here to hold them away from the pipework, and I need to gunk up that hole with something, don't I? Well, you'd never know there was a hole here, would you? Just a short time ago. It's all gone. This time I connected up and got out. I've started connecting up already. Earth's in. Neutral, well, I haven't tightened it up yet, so I've just got to do the line. And of course, once I'm done with the connecting up, I'm just going to do another few tests inside to make sure polarity, external impedance, volts, current are all about where they ought to be. Western Power themselves have put a impedance at this point of 0.23 ohms at 242 volts. So hopefully I'll see something fairly similar inside. You gotta love flexi tails. I've still got a load of standard tails on the van, which I don't think I'll ever use because the flex is so much nicer. So you want to be cutting that about there. I did see at a Lex in 2019 a rather nifty tail stripper on the Boddington stand that I didn't buy, and I've kind of regretted ever since. I'm using the Boddington's rounded cutters, which are pretty good, but those strippers really did look the business. It was a kind of rectangular tool, you just whizzed it round and it did the job rather nicely. That's the wife's trick, that is, to see something she likes, to not buy it on the day, and then to regret it. And I've kind of done the same here. put a couple of cleats on just to keep them firm against the back there. I'm going to be putting some gunk up the old both ends just to keep the moisture out. So gunk aside, and a couple of tests, and that'll be us done. I say us, it's just me here, because Nigel's wagging it again. All told, there have been 6 guys from Western Power here on site today, doing a mixture of digging, pipe repair and cable splicing. And then me doing all the monkey work. That is outside of their remit. Anyway. Not bad. The guys who put in the heat pump have disconnected the old shower and left the wiring floating about back here, so I might get rid of that. They've repurposed the shower RCBO, and they supplied the whisker box with the armoured cable is, well, not secured to the wall. It's passing through at a lower level there. It's just, I don't know, my workmanship may not be terribly neat back in that cupboard, but the visible element on the wall in the study was kept tidy, so it's a bit annoying to see this T&E dangling off at a jaunty angle from the ass end of the fucking thing, you know? I have to finger blast the old metal to get it to wake up these days. I've disconnected the main earth to take an external impedance reading. Let's just take the metal off the no trip setting. I'll adjust the zoom so you assholes out there can see the result. Ignore the limit shown on the metal screen there. It thinks I'm testing a 60898 type B 16 amp breaker, which I'm not, of course. So if I connect my brown probe to line, we have 244 volts. Let's hit test, and we will get, wait for it, 0.24 ohms. Western Power got 0.23 outside, so I'll buy that. Fault current is 960 amps. Of course, I need to undertake the test again with the main earth reattached to bring in any parallel paths for a fault current worst case, because obviously lower impedance caused by other paths to earth will potentially raise the fault current. Oh, it's actually lower, with the impedance slightly higher. Well, who said logic ever had to apply to anything? It's Friday afternoon and the sun is shining. Fuck off. It's Friday afternoon and the sun is shining. And that's another board change done. This one taking 14 weeks, well 14 and a half weeks from start to finish. That's got to be a bit of a record. But, well, what can you do when you're waiting for the network operator to come and do their thang? But their thang is now done. So I can get that one signed off and invoiced for. Those Elucian boards, yeah, they're alright. Not a hell of a lot to distinguish them from other brands at that price point in the market. And I think their price point is probably somewhere nearer Fuse Box's wares than maybe Hager's. But these things sort of live or die by their availability at the wholesalers, of course. And I know that my local cities, well, their go-to boards are Hager, of course, because that's what everybody's got. It's not what I buy. And they've started putting in for a while now they've been putting in a fuse box as a lower cost alternative. So whether there's room on the shelf for Elucian there as well, I guess it remains to be seen.
At the end of the road, turn left, then bear right.
Of course, cities also have their own brands in there, their own marks. A bit weird, my cities, because you've got
turn left, then bear right.
They tend to have M2 enclosures, but Proteus devices. So it can be a bit hard to sort of mix and match a board sometimes, because they seem to have the enclosures of one brand with the device of another.
After 300 meters, bear right.
Not quite sure how.
At the end of the road, turn left.
Not quite sure how that works, and I think it all comes out of the same factory anyway, to be honest. I'm not too sure. So we'll see with the Elucian stuff whether it ends up
bear right. Then at the end of the road, turn left.
On the shelf or not.
Turn left.
Fuck off! I'm trying to fucking talk here. There's some people traditionally have been a bit wary of fuse box. They say they're too new, they're not well known enough. That's why we buy Hager. We want to be able to trust this mark. I don't know if I've said this before. It's 14 weeks ago since we last did anything on this video, so I may be repeating myself. Maybe I'll edit it out, or maybe I just won't bother. But there are people who are a bit wary of.
After 700 meters, cross the roundabout, first exit.
Lower cost brands like Fusebox. Well, here's one that is perhaps closer to Fusebox's price range, but is backed by a big company. You've got the backing of Scolmore behind it. So obviously, you know, you get the best of both worlds. You get the lower cost, but you've got the big brand backing it. I'm going to stop talking now because she's going to just keep interrupting me, and I've run out of things to say anyway.
Cross the roundabout, first exit.
So that's Elucian. Let's see how they do.